We continue our discussion about gender, sex, and sexuality by looking at how and why males and females differ. We have a few questions for you to consider. How did you learn to perform your assigned gender role? What lessons were explicitly taught, and what did you learn through observation and experience? Remember, this is called enculturation. Who taught you? And have you ever felt like you were failing to successfully perform your gender role? Many cultures do not share Western culture's basic male-female, man-woman, and straight-queer dichotomies. The role of biology is most discernible among young children. But as children get older, cultural influences on behavior become much stronger, and it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to isolate biological influences on what it means to be male or female. And anthropologists are really moving toward bicultural understandings when it comes to this. If we look at this image on this slide, it shows how North American ideas about sex and gender differences are powerfully expressed through the colors and characteristics of the clothing children are assigned from the earliest ages. And think pink and blue as we see this slide. So, what does it mean to be neither male nor female? In some societies, individuals live their lives as neither male nor female without social stigma, and in some cases, it is even a prestigious status. We'll take a look at some examples of this. Among the Navajo, the Natlahi individuals combine male and female roles and characteristics and are highly respected, participating in religious ceremonies and acting as spiritual healers and go-betweens in arranging marriages and mediating conflicts. A term that has been long used has been two-spirit in Native American cultures. Let's turn to India. In India, Hijras are considered a third gender. They're expected to perform dances, songs, and blessings at both births and the weddings of Hindus. To many Hindus, a Hidra's blessings of a baby will confer fertility, prosperity, and the long life of the child. They've been mentioned in ancient texts that are over 4,000 years old. And many point to this as being a testament to the sexual diversity that is integral yet often forgotten in Indian culture. However, since the days of British colonialism, there have been attempts to outlaw hijras, but the Indian gender sex system still considers the combination of male and female as valid and meaningful. In this slide, the hijras pictured here are protesting against the Indian Penal Code Section 377, which criminalizes same-sex relationships. Protesters have sought to overturn the law, alleging that the law, which was created during the British colonial era, is outdated and justifies daily abuse and harassment of members of the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender communities, including hijras, by police.
Coimbatore, India. My connection to this story and this place is unique. My grandfather was born here, and now I'm visiting for the first time nearly 8 decades later. Like many places in the subcontinent, it's a city exploring the boundaries of old and new. But one community in particular is pushing through a complex past and looking towards a transforming future. They are Hijra, India's ancient transgender community. We've only just arrived, but my team and I have been invited to a unique celebration. This is a ceremony of rebirth, a moment of transformation. It's a welcome into womanhood and a community of like-minded souls. For one, this party marks the very first time to dress in sari, a badge of honor and symbol of femininity for nearly all Indian women.
அதாவது லைஃப்பில் வந்து ரொம்ப சாதிச்சா ஒருத்தன் இப்போ என்ன நினைக்கிறான்னா அதை விட 1000 தடவை வந்து அதை மீறி சந்தோஷப்படுறோம். ரொம்ப ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்கேன். முதல் புடவை கட்டும் போது பெண்ணாக உணர்ந்தேன்.
Hijra are now a politically recognized third gender, a category of people whose identity is neither male nor female. They began their lives as one gender, but have physically transitioned to another. Dana is one of the estimated 2 million Hijra in India.
You look so lovely. This colour is amazing on you.
Hijra means something different. I was born a man, now I'm a woman. I did a sex change, so I'm a transsexual woman. I feel proud to be a transgender. I don't think there's something abnormal in me.
In India, Hijra have a recorded history of more than 4,000 years. Royal courts held them in high regard, and sacred Hindu texts described them in bright sari and delicate jewelry, bestowing them with special powers to bring luck and fertility.
The Hijras are considered to be an incarnation, another form of Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva and Lord Shakti. So every new thing that happens, a transgender is there.
These revered Hijra traditions do continue, and some of Dana's friends have invited us to see the Hijra offer a blessing.
Newly married couple goes first to a transgender, get their blessings and start their life. A newborn baby is first given to a transgender and the baby is being blessed.
The community of women greet our arrival and have put on their nicest saris for the occasion.
I can't wait to see it all.
They do some rituals to bless the child.
At first, the baby isn't as welcoming to his new guest. But soon he is mesmerized by the magical dance and song of the Hijra deities. Good fortune has arrived.
The words that they're saying in the song.
May God bless the child and let the child live for 100 years healthy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Though despite their special place in Indian culture and history, Hijra have been pushed to the fringes and have not received the same civil rights as men and women.
The minute the family realizes that this person is not of a regular gender, they probably beg that human being, please leave.
Because it brings shame on the family.
Shame on the family. And when you don't have education, you can't work. That's the reason they're involved in heavy sex trade, heavy prostitution.
Rejected by their families and society, many turn to prostitution and begging as their only means to survive. They're refused jobs, ostracized, criminalized, and even sexually assaulted on the street.
நான் பையன் இல்லை பொண்ணு அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பொண்ணானதுக்கப்புறம் எல்லாருமே என்னை பாசமாக பார்க்கல. என் ஃபேமிலி, கவர்மெண்ட் அண்ட் சொசைட்டி யாருமே எங்களை வந்து ஏற்றுக்கிறது இல்லை.
I never used to behave like a guy. I used to help my mom in the kitchen, help her in cooking.
Did you feel comfortable talking to your family about the way that you felt?
Well, they didn't accept me. They want me as a son, not as a daughter. It's been now 6 years. I'm out of my family altogether. I was really scared, but I had no choice.
How did you find your courage?
The passion to become a female made my mind strong.
Dana is now trying to put the past behind her and embracing her new identity. She invited me to stop by her local garment shop, where the choice of fabric allows women to create their look from a variety of colors and textures.
Goes well on the white t-shirt, yeah?
Yeah. The history of the sari is traced back thousands of years to the western part of India. The word sari is Sanskrit for strip of cloth.
There seems to be a lot of material. Who taught you how to do this?
I learned when I saw when my mom is draping us.
Oh, so she didn't actually show you, you just paid attention.
Yes.
We're tucking and draping everything around the underskirt.
The garment measures an impressive 15 to 18 feet long, though there are many recorded ways to drape it. It's a simple foundation, but for Dana, A sari was essential to realizing her true self.
When did you finally put your first sari on?
After the sex change,
How did you feel when you saw yourself?
I felt I've done what I was aspiring for.
Really?
I burst out in tears.
Oh, it's beginning to take shape.
Before, yeah, I would be laughed at. I would be laughed at.
Now that you get to wear a sari, you have your own sense of style, who Dana really is.
Yeah.
You guys!
பொண்ணாகணும்னு ஒரு ஆசை இருந்துச்சு. அந்த ஆசை எப்படி ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா எனக்கு நாளடைவில் அது நாங்கள் ஒரு ஃபேமிலியாக தான் இருக்கோம். எங்களுக்கு வேறு ஃபேமிலி இல்லை. எங்கள் ஃபேமிலி இதுதான்.
Fashion is our most ready means available to us to express in a visual statement our identity, and something as simple as this sari has been denied to them. These women are so courageous.
It might just be a piece of clothing to some, but to a special group of people, it's an identity, a victory, a new beginning.
I feel very happy because I've undergone so many pain in my life to become like this. When we are with our community, I feel at home.
Thanks for watching Style Out There. Subscribe now for more stylish adventures.
Talking about same-sex practices. In some cultures, same-sex behaviors exist side by side with heterosexual behaviors, suggesting that our assumptions about sexuality are not universally applicable. Gilbert Hurt, in 1981, documented what he called ritualized homosexuality among the Sambia people, pictured here. He was criticized for using the term homosexuality since its emic purpose is more tied to symbolically developing masculine strength. There's also the example of Hong Kong only. Some married Filipino women who work as domestic maids in Hong Kong have Hong Kong only affairs with other women. This is more about context than innate sexuality, as these women do not self-identify as lesbian. And in some Latin American countries, passivity and activity are critical distinctions. A man who penetrates another man would not consider himself or be considered by others as homosexual, yet the man being penetrated would be considered homosexual. I know that in the work that I've done with HIV/AIDS prevention, one of the practices that we followed was to identify behavior rather than labels. So, for example, we would talk about men who have sex with men being at risk rather than talking about homosexual behavior. Finally, when we talk about controlling sexuality, we know all too well that some of the most divisive political issues in the United States, abortion, gays in the military, same-sex marriage, sex education, involve questions over whether and how the government should control the sexuality of its citizens. But it's not just in the United States, because we know, for example, in China, the one-child policy has successfully reduced fertility rates and unemployment. But it's also created strict government control over sexuality, including draconian measures like, up until 2002, when it was outlawed, forced abortions and sterilizations of women who exceeded their quota or who were deemed unfit to reproduce.